Hey, do you guys like Digimon? You do? Do you guys like video games? Well, how about that? Me too. Were you raped in the ass by a Digimon game for the PS1? Hashtag me too. So I'm sure we're all familiar with the wondrous world of Digimon. It's something that doesn't come up in discussions that I have with others usually, but it's still something I think about. Back in the 90s, I was one of those kids who just sat around waiting for things like Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, and of course, Digimon to roll around. I even had a VHS tape of 3 episodes of the Digimon Adventure anime, English dub of course, and I spent probably more time watching that one VHS than I do masturbating today. I mean, come on, we were all really bored back then, and not much has changed actually. Eventually, I got into video games a hell of a lot more seriously than I was before then, and my dad took me to a rental store, back when we had those fucking things, and lo and behold, I found a copy of what would be my very first ever Digimon game. And my dad, after asking the store, was allowed to buy it, after I begged him like a little bitch. Can you blame me? Digimon and video games? My autistic ADHD-riddled youngling ass was flipping tits all over the place. I was about to play a dream come true. At least, till I realized that I'd just walked into a nightmare. That nightmare's name is Digimon World 2. Digimon World 2, unsurprisingly, was the sequel to the original Digimon World. What was once a game with a plethora of different mechanics and whatnot, all more closely based on the original Digimon Tamagotchi-like toys, had become a slog of an unimaginative dungeon-crawling JRPG based on Digimon, about some dumb little kid you name, whose goal is to be the best Digimon tamer he can be, and save the world from wild Digimon. Digimon World 2 is a game that tried to do a few things right, but does a ton of things wrong. One of the first things it tried to correct from the original was the atrocious slog of having to raise your Digimon by watching them poop their little swirl turds out like no tomorrow, finding different ways to digivolve them by doing things like neglecting them, and recruiting Digimon to do things like run different aspects of a town. While I do appreciate the attempt to fix this, all they did was make a system that was so heavily uninspired that I'd actually find it easier to sit through the most boring slice-of-life anime than deal with having to sit through another slow-paced battle of watching Digimon take turns screaming unintelligible attack names at each other, and seeing them get hit, all to try and level them up so I can digivolve them. And that's where another problem comes in, the digivolving. In most RPGs, you have some kind of level cap. Some games have it at 50 if you're like .hack GU Volume 1, with it continuing into higher ranges in the subsequent games. Other times it's just a straight up journey all the way through in one game to level 99, or sometimes even level 999. Or if you're like Disgaea, you have the ball-busting, dick-crushing level cap of 9,999. But Digimon, well, let's just say it took the reincarnation system of Disgaea and flipped it around, deformed it, and shat all over any level system I've ever seen. Let's say you have a Digimon, like Agumon, you're probably sitting there training him all the way to level 11, which is the proper level for becoming a champion level Digimon in this game. You digivolve him, and you're ready to go back to training. And while you're training your brand new Greymon, you eventually notice something, after probably not noticing and wondering, why is it taking him the entirety of 3 Digimon anime just to level up one time? Well, that's because you hit his specific level cap, and you have to DNA Digivolve him, or in this game's case, unlike in the anime, you're fusing 2 Digimon of champion or higher into a new Digimon, one form lower than the lowest level of the 2 fused Digimon.
Are you fucking serious?
All just to grow the level cap of your single Digimon, and you can't use rookies, only champion level or higher Digimon in the DNA Digivolution system. This system is so fucking bizarre that I tear my scrotum hairs out just thinking about it. The fact is that once you reach that level cap and then DNA Digivolve them, they don't raise their level cap to the level required to go to Ultimate or Mega. They have some backwards ass math formula that they use to determine your level cap, and I don't remember it being fully explained in game. So if you actually have to go into guides and shit just to play this game, that's a big problem for me. I can probably watch the entirety of Dragon Ball Z, get laid several times in the week, and learn programming and finish Yandere Simulator for Yandere Dev in the time it takes just to get one single Agumon to grow up into a fully evolved War Greymon. But they do remedy this to a degree. You have the option to trade certain Digimon with the Digimon Center for a specific Digimon. And one of the decent things about this is that for any Digimon that they trade, they give it to you for a much weaker Digimon in return. You could be trading a champion level Digimon you just got, and they'll give you an ultimate level in return. Eventually, they start giving out Megas as well, but you still would have to DNA Digivolve them just to get them at their max potential. So on top of a battle system where every attack you want your Digimon to make has to be manually made to target other Digimon, since they'll miss and not just re-aim to living enemy Digimon, you have a Digivolving and level up system that takes longer to go through than a 4-year scholarship learning about advanced engineering. And what's worse is that the battles are so slow, but the music isn't actually all that bad. A little uninspired, but a hell of a lot better than anything else in the game. In the first boss battle of the game, which is basically a tutorial, you hear an awesome boss music that you don't fucking hear until a decent length into the game's main story. What's the point in having battle music that's this neat? If you're gonna make most of the themes for the boss music something like this. What a fucking waste of talent. Almost as much of a waste as the writing for this game. Now, the story by itself isn't anything special, it's standard fare. But when it comes to how shit the writing is, look no further than the writing. The dialogue in this game is so laughably idiotic that I can't even find a special ed student
I can count a potato
more awkward than the writing in this game. In one example, you're told that because the guard teams are on high alert, you have to get your ID checked before you can walk in. Sounds good enough, right? You come in, you get your ID checked, and welcome back. But wait, you want to leave? Okay, walk out. And what do you do now? Even though he just let you in, you have to be checked on your way out. Every damn time. And this is all topped off with cutscenes that move at a snail's pace. That walking animation can go fuck itself with Togemon spikes. Why are you so goddamn slow? Now, the red alert shit is only temporary, but the game itself should not force a secondary check on you after you just got let in. There's tons of times where the dialogue just repeats the obvious, and makes me wonder, what kind of shit were the developers smoking to destroy their creative writing skills this badly? And it would be all okay if this wasn't a dungeon crawling mess. In the game, you don't just walk around and find random encounters. You travel the uninspired dungeons of this game in what's called a Digibeetle, a tank-like car that you move around and traverse domains while fighting Digimon that are on the overworld map that you have to either avoid touching or risk getting into a fight you may or may not want to. And it's beyond stupid because when a Digimon is nearby, you're trapped in a weird motion of only being able to move one space, and sometimes 2 spaces, per movement. But sometimes, the Digimon can also move 2 spaces and you only 1. This makes avoiding battles beyond frustrating, and into the realm of, why can't I stop touching you? And on top of that, you have the ability to capture wild Digimon that you meet, But the way they do this is beyond fucking stupid and annoying to the point that it becomes more of a chore than something cool and awesome. The way they do this is by shooting out an item from your Digibeetle, and depending on the item, you can capture certain types of Digimon. Data items for data, vaccine items for vaccine, and virus for virus. This, for every item, puts a heart on their heads. The more items, the bigger the heart. This would be good and all if every fucking time you shot something didn't count as you moving, giving your enemy the chance to reach you before you give them a max heart. And you need a max heart to have the best chances of capturing a Digimon. If it wasn't for save states in emulators, I'd have to retry by going through the entire dungeon, as sometimes some Digimon you want only show up on the last floor. And in case you didn't know, on the last floors, you're not even given enough fucking space to get a full fucking heart. And the best items can usually only be gotten very scarcely in the game. Toy planes, for most Digimon, get a full heart on the first touch, and work on any Digimon. But you can only get like 2 of them in the entire game if I recall correctly. At least not until really late in the fucking game when you reach a place called File Island, aka the island from the original Digimon Adventure, and you can buy toy planes. But guess what? They're really fucking expensive. And you need a lot of bits, so that's a lot of fucking battles to go through just to earn some money. And as I've already explained, battles are way too annoying to have to go through, just to earn some money. Otherwise, you can only get weaker toy-themed items, and they don't work as well. The only other way you'd get a toy plane is possibly by finding them in dungeons and treasure chests. So, in your dingy little Digibeetle, you're fucked. Which is what you use to travel the dungeons, and sometimes you run into a little something called memory bugs. A little type of bug out of many that you can unknowingly run over since they're invisible at first, which takes up space in your Digibeetle. Space is where you store Digimon, and unless you can somehow transfer Digimon from your Digibeetle memory to the server in a fucking dungeon, you're fucked. As when you try to capture Digimon, they want to join you, but the fucking memory bug is like, "Nah fam, this is my crib now, nigga." And yes, you can upgrade your Digibeetle with a bunch of items like Bug Sweep and Mind Sweep to be able to see this shit, but even then, it can get really fucking expensive just to upgrade this shit. And really, do you really want to go through more battles just to get more bits? Just for that? When sometimes you can just run over a landmine and have it do nothing to your Digibeetle, other than make it move around in a really weird way? I mean, it's only temporary, so why the fuck do you care? Sometimes you just want to run over the fucking landmines and be done with it. And the fucking bugs can just blend in with the background, like if it's on top of like a specialty floor. And even then, you can still run over shit because the Digibeetle controls like fucking ass. So in my case, I'm just like, fuck it, I don't fucking care. I'm gonna run over that landmine, and I don't give any fucking shits. And all of this is just the tip of the iceberg, as there's probably tons of other things I could probably bring up in a straight up Let's Play. And the weirdest part is that despite all these fucking shitty flaws that would kill me to play now, I can't bring myself to hate the game. While I do find it a horrible game today, this game actually took up a lot of my youth, and I do have some fond memories of playing it, as I was a lot more lenient back then than I am now, and also a hell of a lot more bored. And even today, I can find myself forgiving these things to a degree. I won't say I love it or even like it, but I can look past it and see some potential, even if it's just for making jokes out of stuff. Digimon itself is the same way when it comes to the anime. For all its shitty English dubbing, or even sometimes stupid writing, even in the Japanese version, I can never find myself hating it. It's got a charm to it. While all of these things are really annoying about the game, I do find the Japanese attack name shouts, while badly recorded, to be a charming little touch to the battle system that just kinda puts a smile on my face. Though for reasons it might not do for you. I like the music enough to casually listen to it, and I also found myself enjoying the ridiculous dialogue because it's funny, but it's still a really, really shitty game. And now, if you'll excuse me, I need to find somebody that I can DNA Digivolve with to raise my level cap.